Welcome, friends and family. So excited to be here with you today. Folks, we're in mid-May and we just got some really good news. It looks like we're going to temporarily do away with this tariff war. America's now dropped 30% tariff on China, and China is now receiving our goods into their area. That's going to be a big deal. I really think that's going to be a big deal. So, today we're going to be talking about continuing our series on what it takes to be a professional top producer in the real estate industry. And I know that's something that if you're in this profession that you want to aspire to be. Also, I know that last year, according to the statistics that we have reviewed, 74% of all real estate agents, million plus real estate agents in the United States, 74% sold two deals or less. That is not where most people want to be. And it's like any small business. 76% of all real estate agents will fail in the first year. And so it shouldn't be that way. So what do we need to do to be a professional real estate agent, a top producer in our profession? Well, one thing I got thinking about, it's like, what's something that's really important? And to me, one of the top things that you would need to have is being responsive, right? Like people want a responsive agent working for them. And so what do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you a little story. Take you back to probably 2007. Here we are in mid-May in 2025. I want to take you back to 2007. I'm a young agent, got my license, I've had it for about a year. I'm working for the wonderful Miss Jane Wright, at that time at Century 21 in Sparta, a little town I grew up in. And Bob Kent came in. I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Kent in selling his home. At that time, I think it had about 12 acres on Bethel Hollow Road in Doyle, Tennessee. Not too far from where I grew up. Was glad to go out there, met with Bob. Bob moved here from Illinois, and this was just a little home that he was wanting to sell. He'd bought another home, and he was ready to sell this home. Talked to Bob. We got on the same page, listed the property. Well, Mr. Bob would call me probably at least 2 to 3 times a week. And a lot of times I had no updates for Bob, so I wouldn't pick up my phone. Now, Mr. Kent often said this to me. He said, Elijah, if you don't pick up your phone, you don't make no money. You don't pick up your phone, you don't make no money. I remember Bob telling me that over and over and over again. I mean, I bet he told me that 20 times in 1 month. Now, looking back, I know I should have picked up the phone every time he called me. But at that time, I hadn't really been built yet for real estate sales. I had no problem with sales. Like I helped my dad do paving, seal coating, and tree work. And so for me, going door to door, knocking on doors, asking people about seal coating their driveways, that was kind of fun and I was good at it. But a lot of times that was a one-day relationship, right? I would bid the job that day. A lot of times if I had sealer in the truck, we'd sell it that day. I'd get paid, not see him again. And sometimes it was a 2-day gig. But more times than not, I didn't really have time to build a strong relationship with these folks. So what I didn't realize is that in real estate, sometimes you would be in agreement with these folks for 30, 60, 96 months. And so it was more of a long-term relationship. And so I hadn't been built for that yet. But I'll never forget this. Eventually, Mr. Kent invited me out to the house that I'm selling. He sits me down on the front porch. We're sitting across from each other. And I'll never forget this. Bob looks over at me. He says, Elijah, I really like you. He said, but if you don't pick up the phone when I call, I'm going to have to fire you. And wow, I couldn't believe it that he had just said that to me. And I had to make a decision sitting there on Mr. Kent's porch that day. One, was I going to be responsive and pick up the phone when he called, and become a professional real estate agent to be that top producer that one day I was able to become, or was I going to retreat? It was a simple choice for me. Seal coating driveways was hard, hot, dirty work. Selling real estate, I got to be a little cleaner, and I really enjoyed it. So that day, I decided whenever Bob calls me, I'm going to pick up my phone. How about you? How about you, right? Like, Have you ever had a family member, a friend? Have you ever hired a contractor, a plumber, an electrician, to remodel a home? And you hire them to do a job, you come to an agreement, and they set a date to start. They tell you when it's going to be done, and the day they set to start, they don't show up, right? Or even worse, they don't call or text or even let you know that they're not showing up. In fact, you've probably got to call them and say, "Hey, Joe, thought you were going to be here today. You said you'd be out here at 8:30, and here it is lunch, and you're not here." And a lot of times you're leaving a voicemail. Oh, and that's if you can. That's if their uh, messages doesn't say something like "sorry" after you've listened to the whole voicemail. "Sorry, messages are full. Can't leave a message. Please call back." So that's so disappointing, right? And I'm sure we've all experienced that. And looking back, I didn't really even realize how Mr. Kemp felt. Because at that time in my life, I didn't have enough life experience to really understand that when I didn't pick up the phone, what I was saying to him was, "I don't care. I don't care about the opportunity you've given me. I don't care about your home, which is probably one of your greatest investments. I don't care enough to pick up your phone." But really, for me, it was more like I didn't have anything to say. Like I didn't understand why you would call me 2 or 3 times a week. And like I didn't get no feedback from the agent that showed your home. We didn't get an offer. I was just very raw and not trained yet to be a professional, top producing real estate agent. And being responsive was so important. Years later, Mr. Kent called me out to now sell the home that he had bought and lived in. Beautiful home on 5 acres. Really, really nice home. And by this time, I had learned that when you're working with Mr. Kent or really anybody, being responsive is so important, and actually putting up systems and processes. So I would call him before he called me. See, I was no longer playing defense. I learned to go on the offense and started calling him before he called me. I set up perimeters on the front end. Now, Mr. Kent, every Friday I'm going to give you a call. We'll talk about the market. We'll see what's come on, what's sold, what's active, and we'll give you those updates weekly. Also, Mr. Kent, anytime there's any showing feedback, we're going to email you the what we've received from the agent, their feedback. And by the way, not all agents are going to reply back to us, but we're going to actually call them, email them, text them. And if we try those 3 ways and they don't get back to us, then we've done all we can. Mr. Kent was a little different with me at that time. It wasn't that kid sitting on his porch that I was probably 5 years before. At this time, I had grown up and learned to be more responsive. And so my encouragement to you is be responsive. If that's what you want, if you want to be a top producer in your field, whether it's in real estate sales or probably anything in life, be responsive. Pick up the phone, text. Sometimes we get careless with the people we care about the most, our own family. Instead of being responsive, sometimes we think, "Oh, they'll understand." But I do not think that's the way a professional thinks. I think every great professional understands the need to be responsive. So that's my encouragement to you today. I hope that helps you on your journey to becoming a top producing professional real estate sales agent, husband, father, wife, whatever it is you are. By being responsive, you're going to get further in life. Thank you.